Hello and welcome back to our Python programming course. In this video, we'll be discussing infinite loops and how to break out of them. Now you may be wondering, what exactly is an infinite loop? Well, simply put, an infinite loop is a loop that keeps executing and never stops. This can happen if the loop's condition is always true, or if the body of the loop doesn't change the condition being checked. Let's take a look at an example. Suppose we have a while loop that runs as long as the variable I is less than 5. But what if we forget to increment I inside the loop? The loop will keep running indefinitely and we'll get an infinite loop. As you can see, without the I plus equals 1 statement, this loop will never exit, will never stop. Now, having an infinite loop in your code can be a real problem. It can cause your program to hang or crash and waste valuable system resources. So how do we prevent infinite loops from happening? The first thing to keep in mind is to always make sure that the condition being checked in the loop will eventually become false. This means that the loop should have some way of terminating, whether it's through the value of a variable changing or a certain condition being met. Let's take a look at an example of how we can use a break statement to terminate a loop. Suppose we have a program that asks the user for a series of numbers and adds them up. We want to keep adding numbers until the user enters a negative number. Here's how we can do it. As you can see, we're using a while loop with a true condition, but we're breaking out of the loop as soon as the user enters a negative number. This allows us to exit the loop gracefully and proceed with the rest of the program. Another way to avoid infinite loops is to use a counter variable that keeps track of how many times the loop has run. You can set a maximum number of times the loop should run and break out of the loop if that limit is reached. In this example, we're using a counter variable count that starts at 0 and increments by 1 in each iteration of the loop. We're also checking that count is less than 5 before executing the loop body. Once count reaches 5, the loop will exit. Now, what if you find yourself in an infinite loop? Don't worry, there's a way out. You can interrupt the program's execution by pressing Ctrl plus C on your keyboard. This will send a keyboard interrupt signal to the program, causing it to terminate immediately. So there you have it. Infinite loop can be a real headache, but with a little bit of caution and planning, you can avoid them altogether. And if you do encounter one, don't panic. Just remember to use a break statement or interrupt the program's execution. That's all for now, but feel free to explore further on your own and don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. Thank you for watching and happy coding.